Hello everyone and welcome to the Pep Podcast. So we are here to explore the latest trends and insights in digital marketing and SaaS solutions. So I'm your host Nishita and
And this is the Rishikesh.
and today we have a very special guest with us here. Joining us today is Mr. Milan Modi, the business director of Madison World and a very renowned expert in digital marketing. So Milan, welcome to the podcast.
Hi guys, thank you, and thanks for inviting me here.
So, just a small overview of the episode. Today, we will be discussing the role of video in branding and marketing within the realm of digital marketing. So, we'll dive into the how business can effectively use video to enhance their online presence, to engage our customers, and to drive growth. So, hello Milan, how are you doing today?
Oh, well, I'm doing great, guys. This is what I say when somebody asks me, irrespective of the situation. But yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So, we are so delighted to have you today on our podcast. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Okay, Milan. Before we deep dive into the digital marketing, we will love to know about you and your journey into the industry and how do you pave your way into this industry?
Yeah. So first of all, you guys are doing a great job actually. You guys are so young and maybe not even started working in a professional company, and you guys are doing the trending thing that we see today is both audio and video podcasts. So kudos to you guys, and you're great. It was actually, I am an engineer and an MBA by qualification. And to be very honest, digital actually happened to me by sheer chance. So it is a small story where at that time YouTube was one of the biggest platforms where of consuming videos. So I used to see a lot of these videos, and sometimes in between these videos the ads were served. So I used to wonder that how are these ads served to be so relevant. If I saw shoes in the last week, the ad that I see is about Myntra selling me shoes. So I used to wonder that yes, there is some science behind this, and depending on my past behavior, there is something which is shown to me in a customized format on the video content I'm consuming. So one fine day, I happened to send the same link, the video which I was consuming, to my friend, so that he can also see the same video. It is then when we realized each person is actually shown a different ad, depending on the past behavior that he's shown on the internet. And it is this one small instinct that how is each and everyone being shown a different ad at different time is what sparked me that kuch to isme hai jo I don't know and I want to know more. Finally sat for my campus placements, cleared the interview, and landed up in this field. And the first few months of my career in digital, I had this very curious beginning. Always used to ask my manager that why question is what something which I carried with me every day to office. It was my first job, and my manager was, let's say, 10, 15 years older to me. But she very patiently explained me each and every question that I asked, howsoever trivial it might be. And it is that which helped me to clear a lot of doubts. And now when I have a team which reports to me and they ask me those basic questions, trivial questions, it's almost a deja vu moment for me. So, yeah, that was the beginning for me.
Okay, that was interesting actually. So it was like your contributions, your efforts, even your mentors and your friends, colleagues. So it's a lot of it's a group activity, group effort.
It's like a completed whole cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct, that's right. That's right.
As we discussed a lot about this, we initiated this conversation about digital marketing. I want to come across one question like, as a business director at Madison, like, how does a day in your life look like?
Typically, I would like to divide this into three broad tasks that my day looks like, and anybody of my stature or designation will also go through these in an agency ecosystem, right? So I work in an agency, and we help solve marketing problems for the brands via different media. So the first is actually the client interaction, or the account, or the brand, or the advertiser on which we are working. So in this task, typically a client will share his marketing or a digital marketing challenge that he wants to increase awareness for a product which he is launching in this particular state. it is then we deep dive into it as to what is the problem that this brand is solving and how can we place the communication on different mediums, different channels, and amplify the awareness. So client interaction or the brand interaction is the one of the key tasks which me and my team does on the floor and the client. And these interactions are virtual, or we meet them physically, or they happen via email, WhatsApp, and whatever. But yeah, so client interaction is one major element of the agency ecosystem. The second part on which major time is spent in the agency is stakeholder management. Now, what do I mean by stakeholders? There are two stakeholders. One is the internal team. So anybody of my level will have a team under them, and it's important for me to take the team together, because in the end the team's success is defines my success. So we ensure that we have a very healthy relation in the team. We work hard, we party hard. There's enough room and opportunity for everyone to learn and grow digital things with outside the realm of digital and so on. That's about the internal stakeholders which we have. But then there are external stakeholders, which means that the platforms or technology in which we deploy our creative, deploy our communication. So those are called partners or vendors. So now there can be a upcoming AI or an artificial augmented reality tech vendor with whom we share a brief and understand how can this brand benefit from this tech. It is OTT vendor. There are 32 plus OTTs in India, and we understand that how can a particular regional OTT be used to benefit the brand objective. So there is OTT, there are news partners who come with innovative ad formats. So we also meet and interact with them, understand how that can be used for our brands, and this also helps us to keep be on top of the upcoming industry trends that's happening in digital. Third one is obviously training. So while there are both formal and informal trainings, but we try to, with the help of like Google and Meta, we ensure that the team gets an opportunity to visit these offices, undergo training programs, which are in a formal way, Apart from this, within the office itself, we ensure that there are enough trainings that happen, which can be, a proper structure to our thing, or it can be a 30-minute thing to understand a particular platform, particular technology which can be used and which is frequently used on the brand. So to summarize, it's briefly client engagement, stakeholder management, both internal and external, and training. So these three consume the majority part of the day in the office for us.
Yeah. So means on a brief scale, it is like interacting with the customer, understanding their needs, and delivering the service or product.
That's right. Yeah. That's nicely summarized. Yeah.
That's what a good sign of business is.
Yeah.
One of the things I would like to highlight here is that you actually said that it's a team success that builds your success. This is like a very important thing. There are efforts, a lot of efforts behind on the backstage. So that's one thing that we should really highlight here.
Correct.
You can take.
So Milan, I'll have a question over here. Like we went through this digital marketing thing and did a little bit of homework over here. We came across this kind of thing. So like, what is the importance of content marketing and digital marketing? What's your take on it?
So now content marketing actually, is a part of digital marketing, right? And you have seen that, over the last 3-4 years, there's a sudden rise in the available platforms that are there on the internet, where people or brands or advertisers are placing their content, right? So back in the days, brands only focused on two platforms, which is YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So now they have branded it as Meta, but there was earlier Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Now YouTube had around 200 million users monthly in India, and Meta had around 150 million users combined, both Facebook and Instagram. The brands always thought that these two are the mediums to boost awareness for your brands, and whatever piece of content which is created, whether it is a 30-second video or it's a static carousel banner which they create, they use it on Facebook and Instagram. That was for brand awareness. And within performance marketing, the only channels that were prominent were your Google search ads, which is intent driven, and Facebook, Instagram again with their static communication, and to some extent your email or an SMS campaign. So that was back how content was marketed on these platforms. But yes, cut to now, 3-4 trends which have happened, and these have actually shifted shifted the way people consume internet or content. Right, and you must have seen recently also Prime Minister called these content creators in the in their New Delhi Parliament office, and glorified their work to what the Gen Z today and the people under 35 are consuming, right? So which constitute % of the country's population. That's a major trend in terms of how people are consuming content. Now, cut to this time, in the last 4-5 years, there are 3-4 major things which have happened. The first thing is reduction in the data prices of internet. Okay, India is among the top 2 countries where data is extremely cheaply available in terms of internet consumption. Then there is reduction in prices, right? And that's thanks to smarter engineers and thanks to the policies that the country has developed. The good quality smartphone is now available at a 20,000 rupees price. It was earlier an 80-90k thing. Now it is available at 20k rupees price. And because of this, there's a rise in the video content consumption that's happening. And apart from this, obviously, post-COVID, people actually were glued to consuming video a lot, and that led to emergence in multiple OTTs and multiple original content which was being hosted on OTT. Now you also know movies are launched on OTTs. Right? So, and after 2-3 movies being aired in cinema halls, they now become a part of your OTT library. Right? So these are some of the key trends which has changed the way people consume content. Right? And now, as I mentioned, there are 32 plus apps, OTT apps that are available for people to consume. Obviously, the larger ones are Netflix and Prime, which fall under the SVOD category. There are a whole lot of YouTube, MX Player, Jio Cinema, Hotstar, ZEE5, Sony, which fall under the AVOD plus SVOD category. But yes, and to talk about numbers, availability of both short form and long form content has now reached in such a way that YouTube today in India reaches over 550 million people. What does this mean? It simply means that if you want to launch a brand, if you want to increase awareness about a product or a brand, you can reach 1/3 of your population of the country. Okay, assuming there are 1.4-1.5 billion people, 55 crore people, which is 1/3 of the country's population, can be reached via YouTube. That's how massive the reach of this platform is. And yes, Meta, which is the next highest reach platform, and the numbers keep fluctuating, but it again reaches 50 crore people at a monthly level in India. Meta, which means like Facebook, Instagram. And on top of this, the price war that's happening. So players like Cinema and Hotstar have started offering cricket live or the live sports content for free. Right. So 4-5 years back, if you had to watch live cricket on digital, you need to subscribe to that particular OTT. But now with Jio coming in and Jio taking over the IPL rights on digital, it is now available for free. And the Hotstar, the World Cup which happened on Hotstar, again they made it free. So the reach is rise in reach of these OTTs also because of the model which they are following for free consumption for users. Right. So now, if you ask me that if there's a particular content that an advertiser wants to market, the options are enormous. 4-5 years back, if you were to ask me, we would have stuck on YouTube and Meta. But now, if the same question is thrown, marketers like us go beyond YouTube and Meta, use OTT, use these short form platforms, use a whole lot of news apps to market the products.
So that was a really great and insightful answer. One thing I can draw out of this is like as a customer, like you, me, Nishita, we are all consumers of some of the other brands. So as a consumer, we have been evolving. Like we went from cash to UPI economy, right? And
Correct.
also, when it comes to digital marketing thing, you also described about this data prices and all thing. Like even the content creators have moved on from 10-minute videos to 30-second shorts or Instagram reels. So this was about the
Exactly.
content creator thing, the one who are providing the content, and we the audience who are consuming the content. Uh, Here, I want to understand like in the middle, how these companies stay relevant throughout this evolution. Like you have been in industry for like 9+ years. How these companies stay relevant from 10 minutes videos, from the economy, from the cash to UPI economy, from the internet thing. Like how this survives.
So all of a sudden, you have made me feel very old. Okay, I'm not that old. The way you describe spent so many years. I'm just 4 years, younger to Rohit. So मैं उतना भी old नहीं हूँ. But yeah, answering your question, let me ask you a follow-up question. So, do you recollect any video ad that you have seen in the last whatever 2 weeks? Chalo. Any medium, any platform. Do you recollect any video ad that you have seen about a
I
brand?
was just going through YouTube and I went through this Fevicol ad, like the long-lasting jod. Fevicol का मजबूत जोड़ टूटेगा नहीं, that one.
Ad for Vodafone. That is one of the
Okay.
ad I can
So
recollect.
sure. So okay. So now you guys have mentioned two brands, and you actually don't recollect कि उसमें कौन protagonist था, उसमें main communication क्या था, but what you recollect is the key mascot. In your case, Nishinaju.
Yeah, the
ठीक है.
mascot. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Rishikesh, your case, you just remember the brand name and the tagline. ठीक है. अब उसमें क्या वो रेलवे स्टेशन हुआ था, क्या वो एयरपोर्ट पे हुआ था, क्या वो गांव में हुआ था, we don't recollect.
Yeah.
ठीक है, but we still recollect the brand name, and that is, you know, how memorable ads or memorable communications are created. ठीक है. So if I have to recollect some of the ads, and I'm sure you'll agree with me when I answer this. So if you guys 2 years back, there was Rahul Dravid, who is extremely humble, extremely calm and composed, was shown in a very animated way in the Cred ad, India Nagar Ka Gunda.
Yeah.
Right? So we all remember that, Rahul Dravid ka hai, but when somebody is showing us that, and we all remember like, Rahul Dravid ka some out of the box. So that is, one way of creating a content which is memorable, and that is out of the box kind of thought. Next one is how I did a lot about how marketing and how branding works, how memory structures are created. And another way in which memory structures are created is actually creating nostalgia among the consumers. Now, what brand actually takes us back to the years is something called as paperboard banner ad. Right? They will always show playing on the railway station, sitting on that bag. They'll show us something which is somebody watching horror movie at night during the summer vacations. They'll show all those kinds of things. It actually takes us back. We experienced this in the past. The second is yeah, that's right. The third one is actually something which is fun, which is relatable, and that is what Nishita you mentioned. They called Vodafone the Zuzu ads, right? The in which they were operating was there were around I think 16 players in India in that time who were offering telecom services. Right. Airtel, Aircel, Tata Docomo, Vodafone, ऐसा which later merged on. So, but they wanted to build something in such a competitive space in such a fun and a quirky way, and they chose cricket, and they modified each and every event which somebody goes through while doing a phone call. So that's how they used Zuzu, and it's again a memorable. We all remember that. And Rishikesh, you mentioned about Fevicol, right? So Fevicol over the years have built such great communication, where whether it is Mazboot, or whether it is Feviquick, where that fisherman who is sitting not able to get the fish, there's a guy who comes in a stick, places 4 dots of Feviquick, and immediately is the fish, right? So we all remember these are called quirky. So quirky communication and out of the box communication, and nostalgic communication, or a fun and relatable communication always helps create memory structures, create campaigns which are long lasting. But I would like to add one more point in terms of, which is always a debate between somebody who is from the creative side and somebody who is from the media side. Right?
Right.
So it's always a debate that whether a good content or a good creative can actually work in a bad media, or the vice versa. Can a bad creative be made good with the help of a good media? Right? So it's always a debate. There is no right or wrong answer to this. That if the media is not working, and people blame that creative is great but media is not working, and vice versa. But one small or one blanket statement to this is, if the content is not pushy, if it is not a force fit, and if it is being easily acceptable by the consumers, then it will always make a memorable campaign.
There is a lot of power to this content. If you talk about content, there's a lot of power behind that. Right. So, okay, moving forward. So, now you have shared these many experiences with us. So, what kind of challenges you combated when the digital marketing world was experiencing this major changes? Like, how does the evolution influence the way businesses use video in the digital marketing strategies?
Okay, so there's no right answer to this, but I'll share something what I have learned over the years, and which I see that if you tweak these elements, you are sure of getting a better result. Right. So some of the major challenges that we see today is actually something called personalization. Right. There's a creative which is made, and then it is given to the media agency. The media agency now uses this single communication, maybe one or two communications, and it shows it to everybody of different age group, different gender, different geography. But there is no way in which you can personalize this. Okay, barring just use it dub it into the regional language. You are not customizing. That is one thing which is called personalization of communication. The second one is actually, are you being available dynamically or contextually? Right, so that is there. And third one is, how many exposures of that communication are shown to one user. Right? There is something called as bombardment of communication, where if you show the creative to somebody at such a high exposure frequency, in the end it will become a blind spot.
Yeah.
Okay, while people will be exposed to that, but their mind is not listening to that communication. You look somewhere else, or you put the phone down, or you kill the app, you press the home button or whatever. Right. So these are broad three challenges which marketers or people like us in this industry face, and it actually leads to either a cost of showing next exposure increases, or it leads to no brand results. Now there are some technologies available right now who help us overcome these challenges. The first one which I mentioned is what about personalization of communication? So there are you must have heard about what we call AI. Right, artificial intelligence. There is ChatGPT, there are apps which create a comic series, which create video, which create a lookbook in few seconds. Right, so AI is a big word, and it is this AI which is actually helping people in the digital marketing field also. How do they help? So they are actually creating dynamic creatives. What do you mean by dynamic? It means that depending upon what content you have just consumed, the communication to you will be tweaked. So for example, if I am consuming something around, let's say, food, so I will be shown the burger ad with a slightly ad copy, which will make the content much more relatable to me as compared to a plain video which is blasted to everybody. Yes, there are tools and there are technologies which are available which use AI and dynamically create these creatives at scale. Okay, so you just need to give 2-3 inputs, and then all those variations, depending upon what content the person is consuming, are created at scale on the own. That is there. Next is hyperlocal communication. So imagine you are through a mall, and you go to the basement, you park your car and you go up, and suppose if you at that time you end up checking something on your phone, you'll actually see an ad of a store which is actually there in that mall.
Right.
So that is called hyperlocal targeting, again a part of communication personalization. So we all have experienced this. अगर मैं कोई मॉल में जा रहा हूँ और वहाँ पे अगर मैकडी का शॉप है तो मुझे मैकडी का ऐड आ सकता है वो ऐड.
Right.
It can be an SMS or it can be a banner communication, but yes, we all have seen this. And that's
Right.
possible because of hyper-local communication. Your phone is always on to the GPS and it's being tracked every time.
Right.
So that is how you overcome the challenge of communication personalization. The second one is how are you available dynamically? Now, there's a word called in digital called programmatic. Now,
Right.
what does this mean? It means that programmatically you can actually control that if you are content around, let's say, fitness, then you will be shown a brand ad at that particular time in such a way such that your communication is also customized to you. Okay, so depending on what content you are consuming on the internet, whether it's a website, app, video, a YouTube video app, or let's say a Facebook, Instagram app, the communication to you will be in a contextual format. For example, you will say that suppose if you are reading something and there is the rain which starts, you might be thrown off in ad also. Okay.
Yeah.
Suppose if you are in northern part of the country where winters are severe, and if the temperature falls from 24 to let's say 12 degrees in New Delhi, the communication to you will be that the temperature is falling. You might get unwell. You might have cold. Why don't you consume this cough syrup? So that is how contextually these communications are possible. And yes, there are technology partners available who help you with customizations and at a very at a very decent cost. It's not that premium. And the third challenge which I mentioned is about the right exposure. What in digital we call it a frequency. So what frequency of a communication to one user is an optimum frequency. Now, 10 years back, it was not possible to control this. So if Nishita watches YouTube, Hotstar and Z5, and if Rishi watches YouTube, MX Player and Sony Live, then I have to manually reach out to each of these three platforms and show you ads 3 times each, which means Rishi will be shown ads 3 times, so usko 9 का frequency पे ad दिखेगा, Nishita को 9 की frequency पे ad. But in reality, if I only want to show ads 5 times to each of you, so that is possible today with the help of something called as a programmatic deal. Okay, so you can control this. After showing 3 exposures to Rishi on YouTube, I will show the next exposure to him on MX and the next exposure to him on Sony Live, and I'll move on to the next user. So that my frequency or my exposures are controlled, and I go on to reach the next person at a controlled cost. That is possible now programmatically on digital, right? So that is how we control the exposure problem, which was there prevalent earlier.